I don't see anyone talking about the potential fallout the Iran war could have on an economic scale you would not believe. I think the Iran war could potentially crash the American housing market. I do. We're going to dive into Iran, Japan, and the United States housing market. A ceasefire was agreed upon. It's kind of crazy what's going on. So everyone was optimistic. It was a green day. I just think it's going to be short-lived. Let's get into all of that. First things first, the ceasefire, because it's kind of BS. As you all can see, there is a ceasefire right now between the US and Iran. The agreement is basically they're going to open up the strait, let people move oil, just to summarize this, and they have to pay $1 a barrel that they're transporting in crypto. Yes, that's real, which is kind of insane, but that's the deal. And this is a 2-week ceasefire to try to come to some kind of agreement or term. And not shortly thereafter, Israel pounds Lebanon with heaviest airstrikes of war as Hezbollah pauses attacks. So we have a ceasefire, and then Israel still bombs Lebanon and is still being very kinetic and active in the area. This ceasefire is highly unlikely to sustain. It really is. And the idea of getting to an agreement, both parties right now are on so separate pages. It's not even close. They're in two different worlds. They really are. Just as I stated in the last video, Iran, US, and Israel will be fighting for a while. We have ground troops ready to deploy. We just did that. Trump's tweet that he's going to basically end a civilization on Easter is why they even came to the table to try to stop that from happening, right? They're trying to bide their time. Now, in this war, you can see here, we have quite a lot of things going on. This is the canal in the Strait of Hormuz right here. There, everyone that we're talking about. Okay, 20% of the world's oil comes through here. Unfortunately for the world, another 15% comes through here, to which Iran will pressure and literally could destroy the economy. Okay, now where we get into Japan, it's really, really important. The Philippines are already struggling with oil. As we keep going, you finally will get to Japan. Eventually, Japan is going to have a serious problem. If the Philippines are getting hit right now, we have another, call it 5 weeks until Japan literally is not getting oil, and 75% of the oil they get is from the Strait of Hormuz. This is a big deal, okay? Japan is critical for the global economy, and we're going to get into that. I put out a video months ago about the Japanese carry trade and how that's been going on since the 80s because Japan has been stuck in stagflation. It's important to know that Japan literally is at the center of the global economy, okay? And they are now getting pressed for oil because of this war that is not going to end. They've already released that they are worried about a severe oil supply risk. 95% of it's crude. 75%. Okay, my bad. So it's 90. It's even worse. Now, why is that a big deal for the global economy? That's the first thing that we know is true. We know Japan relies on the Strait of Hormuz, and we know the Strait of Hormuz is at the center, the focal point of this war, because it's affecting everyone. We now know those are true. What's the second order consequence? That Japan basically gets a supply shock and the price of oil gets crazy high. Oil prices increase inflation. That is true. We're going to get back to this chart in a second, but I just want you to show you that Japan's inflation is skyrocketing right now, okay? And we know that they're running into a supply shock. The reason why Japan is at the center of the global economy is this concept of a carry trade. We'll actually get into that first. This carry trade is basically where you're borrowing the yen at such a low rate and its weakness relative to the US dollar that you can arbitrage the difference between the currencies for a really good margin. And when I say really good margin and who's doing this, this is like the investment banker's playbook. You got Goldman, JP Morgan, everyone and their mother that has billions to play with on a global stage is running the carry trade. And they have been since like the 90s. The thing that you really need to care about, the interest rate of the Japanese central bank stays compressed. It stays really small. As that increases increases, the arbitrage disappears. So there's no the difference between the two currencies gets smaller. Okay. So as the dollar gets weaker and as the Japanese interest rate gets higher, this trade can fall apart if one of those things is true. And unfortunately, both things are true. I mean, the dollar is recovering a little bit, but it's just not good. Hey guys, 77% of you guys are not subscribed to this channel. Hit the sub button and then drop a content idea that you want me personally to cover so I can make content that actually benefits you and your situation, whatever you're doing in your mind through research. The carry trade is a real thing, and that's how the entire economy moves. Now, because of the carry trade, they end up holding the most debt in the form of 10-year treasuries, but they hold the most debt of anyone in the world. US debt, 10-year treasuries. Okay, 1.225 trillion. Because when you're doing the carry trade, that's what Japan does with your capital and your returns and your interests. They just invest it back into America. It's kind of an arrangement Japan has with us. And it's the focal point of United States investors getting access to Asia in a lot of different ways, mainly in commodities, but in general, like that is how the United States plays in Asia through Japan, through this carry trade, through that arbitrage. Because I guess we just want more return. We're greedy, or we're just smart, arbitraging the currencies and finding inefficiencies in a market. That is what Japan has provided. It's their largest export, their greatest service they can do. Now, inflation's already going up, right? With oil getting shorter in supply, you're going to have an increase in oil prices, which increases inflation. That we also know is true. So when you have the Japanese economy ripping in inflation, what do central banks do to curb inflation? They increase rates. So the interesting thing here is, so this is the second order consequence. Oil hurts Japanese economy because we know the Strait of Hormuz is bad and we know it's going to continue. So when that hits Japan, we now have stress on Japan and its economy, and we risk inflation. With this inflation, they could increase their rates. Now look at what happens when they do that. They literally went from 10 basis points up here to 0.7 and then back down to 0.3. And they've stayed at 0.3 since 2009. Went from, they basically increased their rate 65 basis points. And look at the timing. It's almost like when our Great Recession happened. Isn't that interesting? That's an interesting consequence for the increased rate. And it makes sense if you think about who's in the carry trade. It's all the people that have the mortgages. They're the people helping us with our housing. Interesting, right? So with inflation putting pressure on the Japanese central bank to increase rates, we have a potential risk for this to unwind the housing market. Why? The reason that is a potential risk is because of the correlation between mortgages and 10-year treasury bonds. Mortgages typically last 10 years. Yes, they're financed for 30, but with the churn of housing and everything, it's around 10 years. So that is the standard for pricing mortgages, because that's where they're going to park money when they give you the mortgage here. So that's how they price it. They want to make sure they're making margin on the money that you're paying. It's disgusting. Either way, that's what they do. Okay, this determines the price. And who is the largest holder of those? Japan. This is inflation adjusted 10-year yields. As those yields go up, look at the timing of these. This is the housing crisis. This is COVID. So as the 10-year goes up, housing goes down because mortgages get priced higher, then people can't afford to buy a home. So there's less buyers. You basically price out the market. As 10 years go up, mortgage rates go up. And as mortgage rates go up, less people can afford a mortgage. So you end up having basically less demand. And with the supply staying the same or potentially increasing with construction projects, you have a difference there. Now look at the median home price. We just covered that the Japanese inflation rate, I think this is interest rate went up right around the same time median sales drops. And again in 2020, it's the same thing. Okay. So I actually don't know why they stopped reporting. I just noticed this is 2016. You have the same thing going on right now. If this gets higher, I mean, it's already higher than it was in 08. And look what's already happening to the housing market. Do you see the correlation? I'm not crazy. Japan's interest rates affect the 10-year, which affects the ability for the American consumer to buy a home. And we are seeing interest rates creep up slowly and slowly and slowly. I am thinking that if this hits 1.25, the carry trade's over and you're going to have serious unwindings in America at the investment bank level. And then with the inflation risk from oil being completely decimated on the supply side for Japan, they very likely could increase this rate and cause pressure. In addition, pressure to the 10-year, which would create serious pressure on the price of homes. And you can see here, we're already seeing medium home prices come down. Just in the American economic stage, if you will, or where we're at in the environment, we're already seeing a compression in the price. This could be a ticking time bomb for the housing market, because if Japan ends up getting into a spot where they are really struggling and they can't continue, and even worse, they sell those 10 years, we could have serious volatility in the market that bankers use to price mortgages. In addition to that, you could also have those same banks struggling from the carry trade unwinding, which could lead to more compressed housing prices, which might sound far-fetched, but it is totally possible. It has happened before. Japan being forced to increase their interest rates could affect the carry trade. Well, actually, we know that does affect the carry trade. If that were to happen, we could have banks getting pressure from some of their investments now being underwater, in addition to all of the other investments they've made being underwater. If we go look at what their deposits are on the FDIC website, how much capital they've been given, and what they've done with it, they're actually negative still to the tune of hundreds of billions of dollars, which is worse than '08 already. They are in a very tight spot. And this Strait of Hormuz with the Iran war stressing Japan, causing them to increase rates, could unwind their carry trade and then could directly affect the 10-year yield, which would then bring mortgages up higher and housing prices lower. This is something you're going to want to keep an eye on, because I don't see anyone talking about this. And it is totally within the realm of possibilities. The best thing to do, in my opinion, and what I'm doing, is keeping cash on the side, because I think asset prices are going to get lower in general from investments in, gold, metals, everything. I think, crypto, stocks, whatever you're into, I think you're going to get better prices this year. So I'm building cash. But also, if I'm right about this, this could be the best time in the world, or in our lifetimes, best time ever to potentially buy real estate. And if that happens, I'll be well positioned. I'm scared for what happens when, what I guess the societal fallouts would be if that happened. But this is something I'm watching closely. We do not want Japan to increase their interest rates. You guys want to watch that and watch Japanese inflation, because if that keeps creeping up, they're going to have to do something. That's the central bank's job. And their relationship with the US and their debt and all that stuff is just going to have to be a second priority to keeping inflation in check. Thank you for tuning in. And until next time, take care of one another.